Panorama.
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 Panorama on Splash 106.7 FM.
All right, welcome back to Panorama on the Integrity Station. Let us get on with our issue of the day. In a Premium Times exclusive published on Friday, July 15th, it was reported that the Yandoton Daji Emirate, headed by the Emir of Yandoton Daji, Aliyu Garba Marafa, were going ahead with the coronation of a notorious terror kingpin, Adamu Yankuzo, also known as Ada Aleru, as the Sarkin Fulani, the chief of the Fulani, the next day. Secretary of the Emirate Council, Bello Yusuf, said the decision to make the terrorist a chief was aimed at finding lasting peace in the crisis-ravaged Safi and Yandoton Daji Emirates and other areas of Zamfara and Katsina states, which are regularly attacked by Mr. Aleru and his subordinates.
This was confirmed by other sources, including the head of protocol of the Yandoton Daji Emirate, who said the emirate decided to make Mr. Aleru a chief as part of efforts to strengthen the ongoing peace accord. However, after the uproar caused by the eventual coronation, the Zamfara state government announced the suspension of the emir of Sabon Birni Yandoto of Safi local government area of the state, Aliyu Garba Marafa, for turbaning the notorious repentant bandits leader, Adamu Aleru, as a Sarkin Fulani.
The secretary to the state government, Kabiru Balarabe, informed the general public in a statement that the Zamfara state government has dissociated itself from the alleged turbaning of a Sarkin Fulani by the Emir of Benin Yandoto of Safi local government area. It was also announced that the governor had approved the appointment of a 6-man committee to investigate the circumstances leading to the action of the emir. Our issue of the day this Wednesday will center on the conferment of a chieftaincy title on a notorious terrorist and its implications on the war against insecurity, particularly in the north. Welcome once again, Abayomi. There are quite a number of absurd twists and turns to this story. Now, if one checks, reports before Premium Times exclusive, contained in the Premium Times exclusive, it was said that the decision to confer him with the title of Sarkin Fulani of Yandoto Daji community was reached earlier this year after a peace meeting, and this was disclosed by the Secretary of the Emirate Council, Mr. Bello Yusuf. He said when the decision was reached, it was communicated to the Safi local government area as well as the Zamfara state government. And when Premium Times published their scoop, which was on Friday, supposedly the coronation was to happen the next day. The Zamfara state, the community had considered cancelling it, but they went ahead with it nonetheless. And that coronation ceremony was attended by the Zamfara State Commissioner for Security and Home Affairs, Security Advisor to the Governor, the Safi local government chairman, and representatives of the Information Commissioner, as well as other district heads and traditional holders and government officials. Now, of course, as we said, an uproar came about, lots of backlash, criticism of this decision to reward a terror kingpin responsible for the deaths of many. It has since come to light that this terror kingpin had been declared wanted in 2019 by the Katsina state government. And as far as I know, when one is declared wanted, one does not automatically become unwanted, regardless of the number of years that have passed. In fact, the Katsina state government and even the Zamfara state government have come out to say he's still wanted. Now, there were 100 bandits who attended that ceremony as well, going by reports. And the Zamfara state government has dissociated itself, despite the presence of commissioners, advisors, security advisors, and other government officials at that ceremony. So, what angle do you want to take this from? I mean, this is like a buffet at this point. So where do you want to begin?
Well, Lola, I do not see this as being embroidered in confusion. It's a straightforward thing. The government has failed.
Which government? States?
The state
Federal?
governments and the federal governments, they have failed us in areas of security. Having said that, I want to sympathize with the traditional ruler of the community and the entire residents of that community. Because of the failure of the government, they have resolved to find a lasting solution to their own problem in the way they feel is the best for them. And that is to sue for peace with these bandits. It's very, very unfortunate that that is what they had to resolve to. And don't forget that probably the news we have, maybe they did not get the details. I am of the opinion that it goes beyond giving this man the title. We have heard reports before now where communities pay levies to these bandits. So this man being given the title, maybe it goes along with some other monetary levies that the community will be paying him and his group at particular periods. Like I said, it is due to the failure of the government. And I do not blame the community for taking this step. You can imagine, for a community head to be witnessing the burial of his residents every day or every week, even if it's once in a month, it's not a sight that one should behold every time.
So desperate times call for desperate measures.
They just have to do something. They just have to do something. Now, for the state government that is now denying knowledge about it, you see, I think in the areas where the government have failed in its responsibility, the press has done their own job very well. Because I want to believe that if Premium Times had not come up with this story, probably the state governor would have attended that program. Probably. But because it is now a thing of public knowledge,
Right.
to save their faces, they are now saying that they are not aware of it and that the man is still wanted. Mm-hmm. But the program that was held, the turbaning that was held, had some commissioners in attendance, had some essays in attendance. And you are saying, now that the governor is saying he's suspending the head of that community, it means the commissioners that attended to should be suspended.
Right.
The essays that attended should be suspended. The security officials that were around, if they are not around to monitor the event, the security officials that accompany the commissioners or the essays to that venue, knowing fully well that this man has been declared wanted and they did not bring him in, all of them should be questioned. But now, like I said, it's just a face-saving attempt by the state government. For me, clearly the government has failed, and I don't blame the people for suing for peace, looking for peace at every means they can.
Even though this is an unorthodox way of suing for peace. I mean, basically you are...
Lola, do we have orthodox ways of burying innocent citizens? They just have to look for something to do.
It's like an alliance with the devil himself.
Well, there is this saying that if you want to dine with the devil,
use a long
spoon. It's not that you use a long spoon. You first study the proximity of the devil to the plate. If the devil is too close to the plate, then you look for a long spoon. But if the devil is far away from the plate, you can get a shorter spoon. This instance, they just have to look for a way out, either to partner with the bandits or to even give their daughters out in marriage to them. Anything that can bring peace, anything that can bring respite to the community, I wouldn't blame them for doing this.
So your opinion is that the people of that community are not to be blamed.
They are not to be blamed.
But the state government and the federal government, that's where the blame rests on.
And even the state government, You see, some months back, this particular man that we are talking about
Bello Matawale.
was not
Their
Bello,
dad, Aleru.
the Aleru was alleged to have killed a son of one of the commissioners.
Right.
Now, these people are still boiling. I mean, the people in government, they are still boiling. So the Aleru was declared wanted. They want him in at all costs. But all attempts that they have put in have proven to have failed. So the only meaningful way out now is for them to sit with this guy and discuss with him. Now, I now call to question the intelligence we are talking about from our security apparatus. If I am not a security person, if I were to advise or if I were to say anything on this to the security personnel, I would have said, okay, allow this guy to come in. Give him some time to settle down. Part of the, according to the news report, part of the understanding is that Aleru will bring in some other bandits that are terrorizing the area. Why can't the security outfits just fold their arms, watch, make sure they gather enough intelligence? Maybe in another 3 months or 6 months' time, that is when this guy will be arrested with others. But now they have blown their cover.
So use him as a Trojan horse.
Probably. But the cover has been blown now. Because for the state government to have denied knowledge of this, it means Aleru and his team will see that the government is not serious. And they will take any arrangement with a pinch of salt. With some doubt, they will take this arrangement from the government.
All right. Well, I would love for us to also look at this from the perspective of narratives that have been thrown up in recent times as regards insecurity in the north. I've heard several government officials come out to say those who are chiefs or emirs or those in the traditional setting have a hand in the festering of this insecurity situation in the north. I mean, does this feel like the evidence that is needed to, nail that narrative and say it's a narrative that is actually spot on?
Benga, not necessarily that way. Because you find out that some of these chiefs, some of these government officials too, they fall victim of these bandits. Like the example we gave earlier, that of the commissioner's son that was killed. And I know that even the governor will have a distant relative that must have fallen victim of this banditry of a thing.
Right.
So it's not that they really want it that way. But if romancing these people will give you the immunity from being attacked, I wouldn't blame them. Let me give you an instance. Just some months back, in Osun State here, somebody was conferred with a chieftaincy title. And the whole city of Oshogbo knows this guy to be a lout. One of the officials of the road workers. And despite all that this guy has done, the traditional head, the monarch of the city, still gave him a title of Gbobaniyi. You know what it means to call somebody Gbobaniyi.
Right.
Despite people complaining, the king still went ahead to give him that title. Now, few days to the election, the Guba election that was held in Osun, this same guy led a team that attacked visitors to the king's palace. And the king had to come out raining curses on him. Now, people were now telling the king, when we were telling you, sir, before you conferred him with that title, you did not listen to us. Now, the crisis is now coming too close to your palace. That is when you are shouting. The same thing applies to these chiefs we are talking about in the north. a lot of them fall victim. They cry out, and by the time they cry out and they couldn't get help from the security operatives around, the next thing is for them to make friends with their enemies, because help is not coming from anywhere. So at times you don't blame these people for romancing these bandits, because those who are supposed to protect them are nowhere to be found. There was a time the Kastina state governor was telling the whole world that the whole of Kastina cannot boast of 200 police personnel. A whole state. And a state that is being attacked by bandits every now and then. You still do not have security personnel to take care of these things.
Right.
So the best thing in Niger State, there was a time we heard that communities now pay levies to these bandits for them to go to their farms, for them to be able to walk on the street. These things happen every day. So I don't blame them. I don't blame the chiefs. I don't blame some of these people that decide to romance these bandits. It is left for the government to take the bull by the horn and face this thing squarely. Once they have failed in their primary responsibilities of providing securities for the residents will have to look for means to settle themselves. And this is one of the unfortunate means that the residents will have to resort to.
Zamfara in particular has a history of using unorthodox tactics to solve its insecurity problem. You recall that there was a telecom shutdown at some point. It was criticized, but they went ahead with it. And the governor even said they may reconsider doing it again should the need arise. For a long time, the Zamfara governor had been promulgating the idea of dialogue and reconciliation with bandits, even granting amnesty. He had been a proponent, very vocal about it. He eventually came out sometime late last year to say that he's doing an about turn because it's no longer working and the bandits are not keeping to their word. I mean, shocker. But that was another thing that he did that was unorthodox. Then, very recently, the governor asked residents of the state to arm themselves, and defend their communities. So you can see that Zamfara in particular has
the history of unorthodox means.
Some may say that that's a show of its desperation, finding any means really to solve its insecurity problem. But what do you interpret with all these, as we said, peculiar ways of trying to solve its insecurity problem? What are you drawing from it? What do they mean anything to you?
You see, they mean a lot to Nigerians because when Boko Haram started, it started like child's play. It did not even start from the northeast. It started from the northwest, I think Kano. And because it was not properly handled, it was not nipped in the bud, that small group became a monster today. The same way this banditry started. And today, we can see the extent of the damage it is doing to this country. That of Zamfara State started like child's play too, especially when this gold mining of a thing became so prevalent. Residents were thinking that some people will come to our community, mine our gold, leave our communities dilapidated without doing anything meaningful for us. And later they started confronting the expatriates, confronting people who come from outside to their states to get their resources. Later, they are getting some money and they started buying arms and ammunition. Then, criminally minded people from neighboring states saw gold mine, not the real gold now. They saw gold mine in that activity of waylaying businessmen, and they came in. And today, it has become a big, big business for them. These bandits, if you know how much if you have an idea of how much they have raked in from kidnapping, from stealing, outright stealing, robbery, you know that it's a big business for them. But you said you are asking, should we be so concerned about it? We will be so concerned because it will get to a time that Zamfara State and Kastina State will become a conquered territory for them. And of course, for a warrior who has conquered a territory, there is this tendency that let me expand my coast, and they want to move to neighboring states. A state that used to be a neighboring state for the conquered territory will now become a conquered territory again. Then they will have to move to another territory, another state. Before you know it, 2 states will become 5, will become 7, will become 15 for them. So we need to be worried now. And this thing has to be stopped there and then. I mean, right there in Zamfara and Kastina states. But then, who do we cry to? The supposedly chief security officer of the state has told us that he has been overwhelmed. The only thing that they do now is get their resources, get their money, and look at some of the bandits that can be paid to guide them against other bandits. Because police, Nigerian army, and the likes are not enough to protect the lives and property of these people. Even government officials, government property, they are no longer safe. So this local government we are hearing about is just in the news because they were unfortunate to be discovered by Premium Times. Now imagine if other local governments have been doing this before now. Let me give you an instance. Lola, when was the last time you heard that Kebbi State was attacked by bandits? Just think about it. Kebbi State. Apart from Boko Haram that have been disturbing the northeast, in recent time, did you hear of any attack in Yobe State? Kebbi State is a neighboring state to Kastina and Zamfara. But why was that state not attacked? Probably they are doing something that other states are not doing. But as time goes on, these bandits will want to extend to other places. So if orthodox means is the ideal means for them to get that peace, let them go ahead with it. But then,
regardless of the consequence.
It's something that they are building up now. And before you know it, that state itself will become a conquered territory, and these bandits will be the ones that will dictate who will become governors, who will become senators from that state.
Okay, one of the things that has also been brought up in recent times is that of resource control, where people who feel this insecurity has also festered because, I mean, these territories that have been attacked left, right, and center have one resource or the other that is very attractive to warring factions and sides of various interest groups and all of that. I mean, they talk about how Zamfara has gold, I believe.
Yes.
I mean, I'm going through the natural resource because in my mind, I think, I mean, what's in Katsina that should make anyone want to die or say we're fighting and all of that? But Katsina has some resources as well. I see the likes of, let me see here, gold, diamond, kaolin, marble, salt, and several other things. Is it, I mean, some proponents feel let the states control what is found within their territory. Maybe this might be some sort of solution to this.
The states where the federal government controls the resources, we have had crises in those states before now, and everything is under control. And I mean the Niger Delta. But some of these states in the north, with the resources, the natural resources they have, we have not been able to get facts from the federal government that the resources from these states fall under the control of the federal government. If federal government really controls the resources from these states we are talking about, I mean the states in the north west, I want to believe that we wouldn't be hearing of these kinds of attack. But resource control. Let every state control what they have.
Right.
For me, Zamfara State's resources is not under the federal government. So it is left for the state to now tell Nigerians that, oh, it is the state government that is controlling their resources, or it is some individuals that are in charge. With the look of things, it's as if it is some individuals that are in charge. And that is why they have not been able to handle this issue properly. Maybe if federal government decides today that the kind of treatment we are giving to the Niger Delta, let us give it to other states.
Amnesty? Is that what you're saying?
No, before the issue of amnesty,
Okay.
let the federal government come up and say, okay, enough of all these things. We don't want any miner to come to these sites without our knowledge. You have to pass through these protocols. You must do all these things, and the remittance must be to the federal government's coffers, from which we will now give out any percentage we feel we can give out to other stakeholders. If federal government were to be the primary overseer of those sites, they will put in enough security. That is what I'm saying.
Okay.
But they are not the ones controlling those sites now. That is why they are not bothered. There was, like some weeks back, a number of security men were killed in that same state at one of the mining sites. It is because we do not have that political will to control the resources of that state. If the political will is there to control the resources of the state, I don't think the kind of attention being given to Imo State, the kind of attention that the military gives to Anambra State, if they are to give that kind of attention to Zamfara and Kastina State, I don't think this will continue.
Right. Get talking to us via our social media channels: Facebook Splash FM 106.7, Twitter at Splash FM 1067. Hashtag to use is Panorama on Splash, so make sure you include it in your tweets. WhatsApp number is 0817 555 1067. Send us a message there. We'll be opening phone lines in less than or maybe a little over 10 minutes. We'll see, but pretty soon. But let's talk about now what this means. What's certain facts about this story, what they mean. Such as the fact that, as we said, this, not only is his identity known, Adaliru, apparently it's been known for years, if one goes by, the fact that the Katsina state government declared him wanted in 2019 for killing over 100 people. But 100 other bandit leaders were present. The government sent some representatives. So this could either mean, because when it comes to the war against insecurity, there have been allegations that the federal government, the state governments, they are complicit. They are not just complacent, but they are complicit in these acts. So does this mean, this could either mean one of two things. It could mean that the state government or the federal government knows very well the identities of those that are perpetrating these acts of terror, but for unknown reasons, chooses not to apprehend them. Or it could mean that there is no synergy between states and government agencies, because after Adaliru's turbaning, the Katsina state governor, in an interview given to BBC Hausa, had said that, he's disappointed with the actions of the Zamfara state governor because they are brothers, they are neighbors, and that as far as he's concerned, Adaliru is still wanted. So he said the only that he's just upset at the fact that unfortunately he cannot storm to Zamfara and capture him himself unless Adaliru comes back to Katsina, and then he'll be able to apprehend him. So does this support the idea that the federal government, all state governments are complicit in the prevailing insecurity? Or does this mean that there's no synergy between the states and the agencies, and that is why insecurity persists?
You see, the two scenarios will play out. There is no synergy between the security apparatus we have, and you point to the complicity of major stake players in this. Masari that is complaining that Matawale is harboring Aleru.
Right.
There was a picture, even a video that went viral where Masari was dining with some of these bandits. So it's a case of the kettle calling the pot black. All of them, they have roles that they have played in this. Like I said earlier, if Matawale feels that the best way for him to have peace in his own state, Matawale, for goodness sake, is not the chief security officer for Kastina State. Let Masari adopt any means that will bring peace to his own state. Now he has said it. Masari has told Matawale that anytime Aleru steps into Kastina State, Aleru is still a wanted man, he will be arrested. It is now left for Aleru to either remain in Zamfara State or dare Masari and go to Kastina State.
Interestingly, Zamfara State Police Command has also declared Ada Aleru wanted.
See, they should start by questioning those who attended the turbaning. They should start with that. The commissioners that attended, the special advisors that attended, and the security personnel that accompanied them there. And another thing is this. We might not really blame Matawale much. This same Aleru, before the turbaning, he went for the Eid prayer, the Salah prayer.
Right.
And it was said that Aleru attended that prayer with his family members and a lot of his followers. If an attempt was made to arrest him there and then, it would have been a bloodshed. Though the report says that when they came, none of his followers were carrying weapons. But these people, they have been dealing with the government for some time.
Right.
So don't be surprised if they have some snipers hiding somewhere waiting for anybody to come up with any funny act. So if an attempt had been made to arrest him, either at the Eid prayer or at the turbaning ceremony, it would have been a bloodshed for everybody there. But like I said earlier, I would have expected our security personnel, even the Zamfara State Police Command, they should call for help from sister agencies. How do we sit down, allow this guy to come in, bring his other cohorts, then we round them up and arrest them? But to go into battle with them at a public outing where innocent citizens will attend, don't be surprised, even at that turbaning, so many residents of that community will be jubilating with the belief that, oh, we have been able to make friends with our enemy, and he has promised that there won't be attacks again. The people will be happy. Though the happiness, they will take it with some pinch of salt that anything can still happen. But let's have some respite. They can go to their farms. They can go out now. Fear of being kidnapped might not be there, except that Aleru and his boys can decide that, oh, that beautiful girl, age 9, age 10, I want her as my next wife, and the father will not be able to say anything. These are some of the things they are facing there. But the reality is they want peace at all costs.
All right, let's head over to the phone lines now. Our issue of the day this morning is on the conferment of a chieftaincy title on a known terror kingpin at Daleru, which happened on Saturday and has since generated public outcry. As we told you earlier, the Zamfara state government has dissociated itself from that coronation, despite the fact that there were commissioners and a security advisor present at the coronation ceremony. Also recall that in 2019, the Katsina State Police Command had declared Aleru wanted for masterminding the attack on Kadisau village in Faskari local government area of the state, which then led to the killing of over 52 people. They had also placed a 5 million naira bounty on his head for anybody with useful information that could lead to his arrest, either dead or alive. They've come out to say that that bounty is still very much active and he's still wanted. And the Zamfara State Police Command has also declared him wanted.
So who will attempt to bring him in at the expense of his or his family's life?
The question is, I mean, one thing is clear from all this. He's not a hard man to find or catch.
He and his team walks the
security
streets.
operatives are holding back. Even before the conferment, there have been meetings with him months ago, according to the reports.
Yes.
It was the meeting with him months ago that led to the community deciding to coronate him so that they can tie him down and give him a reason to hold back from, unleashing terror on the residents of that community. But let's head to the phone lines, as I said, 081-744-1067, 081-7555-1067, 0704-400-1067, 0705-050-1067. Good morning. What's your name?
Hello, good morning. This is Odunlami calling from Abeokuta.
Odunlami, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Yeah, may I just say that the security apparatus of both the state government and the federal government are not interested in arresting Aleru. If they had actually wanted to arrest him, this would have been done long time ago. Both the state and the federal government have hands. I make bold to tell you that they know all these guys. They only turn off their eyes when these guys are, they are doing their heels. And they are using these guys as their own personal securities. They use these guys to harass whoever is against them. It's not just in the north. We have it here in the south. We are allowing so many things. You can imagine a situation where an Oba or a Bale of a community says he wants to be an Eye, they should put him in Eye or they should put him in Aye just because he wants to be guided by Eye. He doesn't want, other, factions to come and, disturb his territory. It's happening everywhere. It's so disheartening. It's just because the government does not want to. No matter the number of mercenaries that Alero has, you cannot tell me a whole battalion of the Nigerian army cannot address it. They can. They can.
Thank you.
It is quiet about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Odunlami, for your contribution. It is well appreciated. You can also drop in a tweet for us on Twitter at SplashFM 1067, Facebook SplashFM 106.7, WhatsApp 0817-555-1067. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
What is your name?
From Agbo.
Tajuddin, go ahead.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Abayomi Babalola.
Good morning, Tajuddin.
Yes, my question is, who is actually deceiving who in this country? Because I can't really fathom a state government saying that declaring someone wanted, someone who has just finished his turbaning session, who had commissioners and special advisors in attendance. So that means the guy is so accessible. Why declaring him wanted again? It's just like we are not ready to fight this insecurity in this country. That is just the bitter truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Tajuddin, for your contribution. It is appreciated. 0704-400-1067, 0817-444-1067. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Mr. Lolade from Mozambique.
All right, Mr. Lolade, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think my position on this is quite clear. If you don't have, if somebody does not have what to give, to offer, there's nothing you need to expect from such. If this can be happening within the president's state, so what do you expect of other states? What kind of security are we looking for from such leadership? The truth about this country is clear. I want to believe these people are baby of the government. They were born and nurtured by this government. Because if not so, I cannot imagine a situation whereby the president's state would be in such anarchy. And funny enough, a nearby state to the president would be having such a problem. So what's happening in this country? We need to address the main issue. And the main issue is 2023. We should reorganize ourselves and put what is right, put the right peg in the right hole. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ololade, for your contribution. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Radio Panorama.
Good morning to you, sir. Yeah. What's your name?
This is Dr. Logmo calling from Abayomi.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you. It is very good that things like this are really happening to expose the compromises that we have within the government itself, both the state government and the federal government. For God's sake, how do you declare somebody who you see almost every now and then wanted? Is it that the government there, they do not really know how to get this man? Is anybody really sure they are not in talking terms with him? Like your guest analyst has said, the community must have seen that as an opportunity to settle some score with this group. And so it is a local initiative that they have used, even though it is very unfortunate that is what is happening. But who is to blame? Is it not now that when nobody, like some governors are already saying that when the next attack, they are going to institute arms carrying, for their citizens? Is it not because the federal government that is the chief security officer of the nation has failed? And this is what is happening. People are taking local initiatives to sort out their matter. It is very unfortunate. Government has failed us in this country, especially with respect to this security. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Good morning.
Good morning. Olarinwaju Seriki is my name from Camp Abeokuta.
Olarinwaju Seriki, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
It's so pathetic, the situation we find ourselves in this country. Like the former General Abacha said, he said that if insecurity lasts more than 24 hours, government has hand in it. I'm telling you that this government that we are right now cannot exonerate themselves from what is happening. I live in the north, but what I want to tell you is that they have sown wind and they are reaping wild wind now. These people have been investing so much for the past, 3 decades. You see, they are like monsters. When they were feeding them, they didn't know they would grow this large. Now it has happened. Now, those that people were arrested, they couldn't even start death warrants for them. When the court declared that they should be sentenced to death, they will leave them there. That's why the amount of money we are spending on insecurity in this nation. There is no result for it. The governors are powerless. Because there is no state police. They don't control the security apparatus in this country. So the presidency should be held responsible for what is happening in this country. So the way out is just that the 2023 is coming. We should be very careful the type of person we are going to vote as the leader of this country. Those governors there, those people, they used to be their boys. They recruit them. Even the ransom they are paying. And all this, what do we call it? This mining issue or something, they are controlled. The resources in the north are in the hands of non-state actors. And they are using the money to purchase arms and ammunition that even Nigeria Army could not withstand them. They brought people to Kano. What are they using about? These people have been declared terrorists. Why can't they use it against them? So governments are pampering them. They know what they are doing. They are using it to settle scores. Because those people, they brought them in themselves for the sake of election, and now they have overgone. They could not control them anymore. The whole country is in a state of anarchy. May God help us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olarinwaju Seriki from Camp Abeokuta.
Well, the whole country being in a state of anarchy, I'm not so sure. Okay, so we don't throw up narratives that don't exist. That's the case.
Let's go through some WhatsApp comments.
All right, here are the WhatsApp comments that we have so far. A lot of them, actually. The first person who sent in a message says, "Good morning, Splash. Oh, this is a very ugly and worrisome narrative, but it is expected. When the government fails in episodes to secure its people, then non-state actors would step in. So I don't blame the residents. They have to do all they can to protect themselves and make peace with their tormentors. I pray we don't have the Afghan treatment." We also pray in that regard. Olajide Lawale Okweyemi from Olorun Shogobole Bode Olude Abeokuta. Let's take another one now. Good morning, Lola Benga, also our guest. What a shameful act in a city that has king and chiefs and other community heads. Let's listen to this person. We'll get back to the rest of the... okay, I'll continue with the WhatsApp comments now. At the point of their nose, a killer and the bandit will be turbaned. I think thorough investigation should be carried out. Government representatives at that event, and anyone found guilty should be dealt with seriously. This shows that bandits are in control of some communities and local government areas in that state. When are we going to get it right in this country? It is well. Sanitarian Akinola Luarantimi from Ashira Belkuta. Thank you very much. Here is another one. Good morning. My name is Jaola Wali from Oloshu Estate. Concerning the issue of Adalera, I would just urge federal government to give the people order to defend themselves, because the government themselves are not ready to fight insecurity in Nigeria. Well, I hope you're not calling for legalization of arms, for people to carry arms, okay, because that might be self-inflictory at the end of the day. Here's another one, Ola Joel, who says, what I see in all this evil bedeviling us in this country is that the center can no longer hold while things fall apart. We are not serious about moving this country forward. Otherwise, we'll not be playing with the restructuring of the country and devolution of power. Until all the government and the people in Nigeria pressure our House of Senate, the Senate UNC and House of Reps to pass into law the State Police Bill and also Resource Control Bill, and not this Water Resource Bill that they are so hell-bent on, you might say. And also, until we remove nepotism from government, as this government is known for, we might not be able to move the ship of this country anywhere. All right, here is another Omoshebi Omololu Bamidele from Ikere Ekiti State. Thank you for listening to us from that part of Nigeria. Nigeria is a strange country where lawlessness holds sway. What is the meaning of a security? What is the meaning of security agents, police, and apparatus of the state? This then means that the state government is complicit in the turban, thereby playing with the lives of the people on the altar of complacency. Thank you for sending that in.
We have a commercial break to head to. But you can keep sending in your comments to our Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp portals. WhatsApp is 0817-555-1067. Facebook, Splash FM 106.7. Twitter at Splash FM 1067. Hashtag Panorama on Splash. We'll get to the rest of your comments on social media after this break. Stay with us.
A wonderful morning starts with integrity. The integrity starts with you.
Splash FM 106.7.
Honey, must you go?
Babe, you know I must. Besides, you can always video call me.
Hey, what if your battery runs out?
I've got my power bank.
Hey, and when your power bank runs out?
Babe, I've got my laptop.
Okay, wait. What if your data runs out?
Babe, you know we never run out of data.
Never run out of data with Airtel Home Broadband Unlimited Ultra plans. Enjoy unlimited data with no speed cap plus extra data daily, so you never have to worry about running out. Visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB to get started.
Babe, but I just left the house.
Yes, honey. It's video calling all the way.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Bàbá ṣe ń tọ́jú ọmọ nínú oyún náà látó gbọ́dọ̀ máa múra sílẹ̀ fún gbogbo ohun tọ́mọ máa lò tó bá délé ayé tán. Ìrìn àjò oṣù mẹ́sàn-án kò ṣàyẹ kó báni lójijì. Bóun gbogbo tilẹ̀ ti gbówó lórí lásìkò yìí. Ìyẹn ò wá ní kọ́mọ tuntun jòjòló. Ó má lè gbádùn àwọn nǹkan tuntun lóníranran. Láti mílẹ̀ yìí rọrùn ní the Ennis Global Covenant Baby Care. Ṣe sílẹ̀kùn àǹfààní yìí sílẹ̀ fún gbogbo ìyálọ́mọ pátá. Láti wá máa sanwó ẹrù ọmọ wọn díẹ̀díẹ̀ sọ́dọ̀ wa. Títí dàsìkò tẹ́ ò fi bímọ. Ó sì jẹ́ pé ṣe lẹ fẹ́ ra tìyín lẹ́ẹ̀kan náà. Déédéé ló ṣe. Kò wá sírú ẹrù ọmọ ìgbàlódé tó jẹ́ ojúlówó tẹ́ fẹ́. Tí ò sí ní the ẹni. gbogbo ẹ̀ pátá lówó tí ò ga jara lọ. bá a ti ń ta àwọn ẹrù ọmọ àti tìyá lọ́mọ náà la tún ta àwọn aṣọ ìgbàlódé tó jẹ́ ojúlówó tó buyì kúni láwùjọ fún tọmọdé tàgbà office and casual wear fún tọkùnrin tóbìnrin singlet boxers shoes and bags lovely body sprays lóríṣiríṣi long lasting jewelries for both young and old school bags àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. ẹ kàn sí the ennis ní number 9 oníkólóbó road ládojúkọ catholic comprehensive high school oníkólóbó abẹ́òkúta 0818-303-5977.
ABR ọ̀rẹ́ àgbẹ̀ àbísúyọ lóko bọ̀pá dé. wọ́n ní ẹ ò gbọ́dọ̀ kárí ẹ̀ lórí ìgbà ọ̀tún. pàápàá àǹfààní tó gbọ́mọpọ̀n dáadáa. ilẹ̀ oko mo lọ́gẹ̀dẹ̀ orílẹ̀ ìlúgùn ọlọ́run dá 25,000 ní plọ̀tì báyìí. ẹ ra plọ̀tì mẹ́ta kẹ́ ẹ gba ìdajì sí i. ó sì jẹ́ éèkà lẹ́ra ẹ gba plọ̀tì kan sí i. ilẹ̀ àgbẹ̀ kọ́bápá alábàtà ọ̀pẹ́jì 30,000 per plot. bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ra plọ̀tì mẹ́ta ìdajì lẹ́gbà sí i. ó sì jẹ́ éèkà lẹ́ra ẹ ó gbòdìdì kan sí i. àwọn onírà ti wà ńlẹ̀ láti ra èrè oko yín. 39 NTA Road ọgbẹ̀ Abẹ́òkúta 08033706236 08033706236. ABR ọ̀rẹ́ àgbẹ̀ àbísúyọ lóko bọ̀kọ̀ ìgbọ̀tún fáwọn àgbẹ̀. ogójì oṣù tá a wà yìí láǹfààní ìyópin.
ọjọ́ ti pẹ́ tá a ti ní ìrírí iná mọ̀nàmọ́ná tí kì í ṣe déédé. owó tá a fi ń ra epo sí jẹnẹrétọ̀ wa ń fi ojoojúmọ́ gòkè sí. àfi bí ajá tó ń sáré tó wó ń jóná. kò sówó a tún fi owó ọ̀hún rajà tó wọ́n. ẹni tó fẹ́ wo tẹlifíṣàn tan fan gbórin aládìídùn lálẹ́ tó wá tún ẹ̀rọ amúnáwá jẹnẹrétọ̀ fún wákàtí mẹ́jọ lójúmọ́. a ná 1,800 naira fowó epo. a ò fura ní o 12,600 ló máa jẹ́ lọ́sẹ̀. 54,000 naira tán ni lóṣù kan. eléyìí ò wá pọ̀ jù. ṣé bí mo bá fi ọ̀nà kan hàn yín tí àwọn tí wọ́n já sí ń tọ̀ tí wọ́n fi ń gbádùn iná mọ̀nàmọ́ná tí kì í ṣẹ́jú ṣẹ́yìn náà máa tọ̀ ọ́. June 6 Energies Nigeria Limited ní ilé iṣẹ́ tí ó ti múra tán láti ṣe àtìlẹ́yìn fún gbogbo ẹni tó fẹ́ gbádùn iná mọ̀nàmọ́ná tí kì í ṣẹ́jú kíkì nípasẹ̀ agbára oòrùn. àṣeyọrí gbogbo ìgbà ń ló jẹ́ kí June 6 Energies máa tẹ̀síwájú níbi ká bá ní ṣe solar inverter fún ilé iṣẹ́ ńláńlá àti kéréje-kéréje solar TV solar freezer solar street light àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Ansarudin House Quarry Road Pepsi Abẹ́òkúta 081-2926-7722.
àsìkò rẹ̀ ti tó tiwọn náà máa ní testimony tẹ̀lé wa ká lọ sí Dubai kájọ rìnrìn àjò Lucas Travels and Tours pẹ̀lú ránṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run bàbá testimony lájọ ń lọ.
ó ti yá Lucas Travels and Tours orílẹ̀-èdè United Arab Emirates Dubai tó ń dún yògbàyògbà tó rẹwà gan. Lucas àmúwà débẹ̀ Safari Desert Silver Village àtúmọ̀ cruise jayé nínú ọkọ̀ ojú omi pẹ̀lú àgbẹ̀jẹ̀wẹ̀mú lálẹ́ láàrin Saturday August 20 títí wọ Saturday August 27 ní o. ọ̀sẹ̀ kan gbáko ní Dubai gbogbo fisa ticket accommodation 920,000 naira péré ni. àwọn pẹ̀lú wòlíì Ọlọ́run prophet Dr. Adéọlá Àkàndé bàbá testimony látọ̀ lọ. testimony wa máa pọ̀ sí nìyẹn lọ́dún yìí. ìwọ náà tara ṣàṣà máa bọ̀ ní Fed Plaza kìlómítà 1 Abẹ́tù junction Abẹ́òkúta telephone 09099977001 tàbí 07039301361 website www.elucas.com. Elucas Travel and Tours Dubai Tia.
Honey, must you go?
Babe, you know I must. Besides, you can always video call me.
What if your battery runs out?
I've got my power bank.
Hey, and when your power bank runs out?
Babe, I've got my laptop.
Okay, wait. What if your data runs out?
Babe, you know we never run out of data.
Never run out of data with Airtel Home Broadband Unlimited Ultra plans. Enjoy unlimited data with no speed cap plus extra data daily, so you never have to worry about running out. Visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB to get started.
Babe, but I just left the house.
Yes, honey. It's video calling all the way.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Don't dare touch that dial. It's Splash, your integrity station.
Welcome back to the Integrity Station, Splash 106.7 FM. Trust you're still remaining with us after the first half of the show has been concluded. Remember, you can listen to us from any part of the country or the world via our website or our app, just like that lady from Ikiti, yes?
Right, Ikiti State, right.
Yeah, I assume she's listening to us either from either of those mediums or maybe even our Facebook live stream that is still set up. We cannot take any more calls in reaction to our issue of the day, which was on the turbaning of notorious terror kingpin Adaleru by the emir of Yandoto Daji community. It was later suspended, and the Zamfara state government dissociated itself from that, despite the fact that there were commissioners from the Zamfara state government present at that ceremony. But that was our issue of the day. So now let's go through the rest of the comments on WhatsApp and the comment we have on Twitter as well.
All right, the feedback is still pretty enormous, so I would continue with them. I talked about how there were 6 when we were to about 9 or 10, but would read every single one of them, so not to worry. We have this one from Dr. Shegun from Isholu community. In sincerity of purpose and impunity in the land, who owns those mining sites in Shiroro, Niger State, where 50 security agencies, including 25 military officers, killed and 4 Chinese were kidnapped? Army officers can only be sent to security tasks like that without the approval of the commander-in-chief. Who owns those mining sites? It's either Mina, Big Boys A or B. I come in peace. All right, we appreciate your message. Here is another beautiful morning, my people. I'm Samson New Joseph. Just like Tajuddin said, who is deceiving who? Our politicians as well as government. It's the insecurity. I was in Kaduna a few weeks ago, and I overheard that the headquarters of the bandits is just a stone's throw from the NDA, that's the Nigeria Defense Academy, and the military knows the place very well. Look, believe it or not, the government is our problem, Jare. It is well. Here is another now. I do not understand what the man in the studio is saying. Since the man is not a spirit, why was he not arrested and prosecuted? That is awkward and dangerous, and I wonder what will happen if another set of terrorists rise due to the treatment of the person in question. Let them do the needful. Surakat Abdulhamid Abiodun sent in another and says there is no punishment for bad behaviors again. Oh my God, Father, where is thy face? Help us and descend on the wicked ones. All right, to the next message. Good morning, Panorama. We need true federalism in this nation, Reverend Zechariah Lubaya Taningbola. And he goes on to say, using religious laws with our constitution has created brouhaha in this nation. Thank you, Reverend Zechariah Lubaya Taningbola from Wasimi. Here is another now. They, federal and state governors, have politically politicized the economic, educational, and security situations of this country. Bandits leader Turbaned as Sarkin Fulani in Zamfara. This country is a joke. Engineer Hiyanu Richard, thank you for sending that. Good morning. This is from Ismail Shonola from Tekobo Idiaba, who says, when there is no desired solution, then when there is no desired solution, then people will go for the available solution. If the emir should be given the title to the bandit to ensure peace in his territory, then government should be blamed. But above all, it is now high time for government to be alive to their responsibility and provide maximum security for the people of the country. Thank you, Ismail Shonola, for sending that one in. Here is another from Ijala Waliu again, who says, however, I'm even thinking that at least one person in the nuclear family across the nation will be employed into Nigeria Army, but their primary duties shall be the protection of their families and the family of families. I think this method can help at least 50%, if not all. Ijala Waliu, thank you for sending that in again. Here is another from Shoneye Sulaiman from Olomori, who says, good morning, Panorama crew. I don't know why these people's issues are usually treated with kid gloves. Must the Alero enter Katina before he's arrested? Are we saying if a criminal escapes arrest in a particular state, he cannot be arrested in another state? Well, I can give examples of a certain cult member who fled Ondo State, was arrested in Ogun State. And so apparently crime is crime, regardless of where it's happened, suffice within the borders and territory of Nigeria. Here's another, Anu from Kuta, who says, on the issue of banditry and insecurity, it is very devastating if a solution can be done. On Alero, he's not hiding nor running. So many dignitaries went for the function. That is to tell you he is closer to the government and he's being used by the government too. So they should not fool us. Meaning that the person the police officers were looking for was getting a chieftain's title.
Chief.
Right. So Nigeria be like an Hollywood movie. And even who signed the certificate presented to Alero, government, don't spoil it. That's it. We're done with WhatsApp messages.
All right, that was quite a number. But thank you, everyone. We appreciate all your contributions via phone calls, via WhatsApp, and even via Twitter, where we have this tweet from Otumba Ejanla, who says, we have a fresh opportunity to start again by 2023. Let's choose right. I doubt if a northern president can have the political will to solve their own problems. And on Facebook, thank you to everyone commending us, including Umar Bun Shehu, who says, good morning, Mr. Gbenga, and it's Ms. Lola in the studio. Well done for the great work you're doing. May God continues to give you strength. Thank you very much. All right, Abayomi remains with us in the studio. Thank you, Abayomi, for staying with us from 8 to now.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's do the next couple of minutes together. We'll peruse the papers. I have Vanguard here with me.
And I have Nigerian Tribune. The big story on the front page of the Tribune is this: strike continues. ASU adamant. Two riders union insist on Utah's signing of renegotiated agreement, and the second rider resolve ASU's issue within 2 weeks. Buhari tells Education Minister. You find that in the middle of the paper. Dana Air makes emergency landing aircraft grounded. You find that on page 15. Suspected headsmen invade Alawa Kala's farm in Ogbomosho. Two riders kidnap supervisor. And the second rider demand ransom. You find that on page 15. APC will challenge Adeleke's victory in court, says Oyetola's campaign DG. You'd find that on page 26. Buhari unveils new NNPCL orders transfer of assets. Four riders as company targets 1,500 retail outlets in 6 months. A second rider, confusion trails, petrol price hike. The third rider, we did not direct oil marketers to hike petrol price. That's coming from the NNPC. And the final rider, oil marketers fault viral message. You find that on page 6. CBN raises interest rate to 14% to check inflation. You find that on page 6. AFDB approves $1.134 million loan for Nigeria to boost local food production. You find that on page 7. 57% electricity consumers on estimated bill. That's according to the NERC. Politicians who pick 2 nomination forms risk 2-year jail term. That's according to a resident electoral commissioner. We'll get to the details of that as we continue with this. You find that on page 8. By the way, domestic airline operators raise the alarm as price of aviation fuel rises to 718 naira. The rider says call for removal of 5% fuel short charge to forestall total shutdown. You'll find that on page 6. I already read that actually. Page 5 has this story why it shows Shatima as my running mate. That's coming from Ashwaj Bola Tinubu. And the final story on the front page of the paper states Adeboye didn't endorse any presidential candidate. And that's according to the Redeemed Christian Church of God. You'll find that on page 5. Those are the stories you find on the front page of the paper. Perhaps on the back page we have something on WAFCON. Falcons parade aging players. That's according to a South Africa legend. Those are the stories you find on the front and back page of Nigerian Tribune.
All right, let me take you through the front page of Vanguard newspaper. Lead story, Buhari gives Adamu 2 weeks to resolve varsity union strike. Here are the riders. Directive does not mean government is serious. That's according to ASU. Parents say that it's a welcome relief. NLC says we want its resolution even in 24 hours. Meanwhile, a source says the federal government has done everything possible to assuage ASU. Explains why lecturers refuse to accept IPPIS. As it says, many lecturers' children are studying in private varsities overseas. Meanwhile, Konwa breakaway ASU faction, Conwa, declares count us out of strike. More stories now. Vote buying. INEC proposes life ban for guilty politicians and parties. Kidnapped Kaduna Catholic priest killed. Other escapes. Gunmen kidnapped traditional ruler in Buari, Abuja. Masari says government security agencies have failed to secure Nigerians. I guess this is from the BBC Hausa interview that we alluded to during our issue of the day. One dies, others injured in Lagos tanker explosion. The APC is unveiling its vice presidential candidate today. Federal government raises alarm that food price inflation may drive more Nigerians into poverty. CBN tackles rising inflation, raises MPR again to 14%. Airline operators demand immediate removal of 5% fuel surcharge. NNPC Limited will guarantee Nigeria's energy security, says Buhari. On State of the Nation, Obong Atta says Nigeria has never been this bad. All right, let's have Abayomi Babalola give us his take on some of these stories. Let me begin actually with this story that's not on the front page of Vanguard, but is on the website of the Punch newspaper. It reads, confusion as 179 naira per litre fuel price controversy worsens. It says the documents displaying the cost of premium motor spirits, popularly called petrol, in various regions of Nigeria is causing confusion among PMS consumers as the federal government remained mute about the matter on Tuesday. Although some operators in the downstream oil sector allege that the fuel prices were approved by a government, many others debunked the allegation on the grounds that the document had yet to be confirmed officially. Oil marketers, however, told the paper that the federal government might be using the document to test the reaction of the public as touching an official hike in petrol price. Now, we've seen queues lessen and even go away, but this appears to be the cost of that, an upward adjustments in the price of PMS. But the federal government has been quiet about it. In fact, the whole time, the queues were happening, and even when it was being sold at high prices, but there were no queues, the federal government has remained mute. What do you make of this, Abayomi?
I think the federal government has come to realize something that Nigerians will always do, what Nigerians will always pray for, and will not mind what the federal government will do. And that is make sure there is enough products in circulation. How much we are going to buy does not really matter at times. There are times that we'll go to the filling stations, even in the dead of the night, to go and queue, to go and fight, beat ourselves, and we'll still buy this fuel at 200 naira, 250 naira per litre. But it's as if what the federal government does these days, especially since 2015 that Buhari came on board, is that they will test the water. There will be that scarcity.
Artificial scarcity, some people say.
Yes, for some days. And people will say, okay, let us, if you have, how much do you want to sell? They will just adjust the price a little and Nigerians will not complain. Because we can get the product anytime we want to, irrespective of how much it is being sold. In fact, some days back, I saw a particular filling station where I saw many motorists lining up and I joined the queue. I just got down from my car and went to the pump and asked, how much are they selling? They said 190. I said, with 190 and you still have this much queue, it means that Nigerians just want the product.
We are adjusting to the price
We are adjusting
increase.
to it. And this one that they are doing, 179.
In some
states, Lagos State, I think, is 169 or thereabouts.
And in the north, it's higher, 184 and the like.
You see, these two will still bring more problems. Where you have prices that are not uniform. Later, you see some drivers, they will tell you that they prefer to go and drop their products in a particular state. Probably they are making more from that state compared to another state.
But isn't the reason for the difference in price in state based on the fact that it's been transported?
The
so
transportation
the cost of
logistics, yes. But Nigerians, we are funny and we are very intelligent to bring out the best out of every situation. So don't be surprised if a neighboring state will tell you they do not have the supply while you have it in excess in another state. It happens.
Now let's talk about why this price increase. Do you think that the federal government has been somewhat reticent about it because of its because it knows that the timing, it may not be able to control the fact that the price is going down, because the marketers themselves are citing cost of transportation, logistics, market forces. But could it be that the federal government is sensitive to the fact that at this time Nigerians are having it really hard given inflation in nearly every sector?
The federal government, like one of the reports says, the price regulatory authority are saying they did not approve any price increase. You see, the reality on ground is that the logistics for getting these products to the various filling stations are getting higher every day. Early this year, we bought diesel at around 165, 185, 200 naira. Today, diesel is well over 600 naira. So how do you expect them to cover up for that? So these marketers will go back to the government and tell them that the reality on ground, we cannot continue to cope with that cost elements that you have, the profit elements that you have given us. Where they have given them profit elements of 30 naira, 30 naira, and the cost of getting the products to the final consumer is much more than 50 naira. What do? So the reality on ground is what we are saying now. And Nigerians have not been able to agree on removal or non-removal of subsidy. So one way or the other, the federal government too will be trying to reduce what they are paying on subsidy. Unfortunately, with the prevailing price out there, the subsidy amount will still be going up.
Right. This also brings us, of course, we can't talk about this without talking about how it is that oil is at its most expensive in years, and somehow instead of reaping the benefits of that, we seem to be going the other route, which is we are paying even more. Consumers.
That is what will play out because we have refused to put in the proper infrastructures that we are supposed to have. By now, as the price of crude is on the increase, logically, Nigeria should be enjoying that. But because we do not have the structures in place to enjoy that price increase, that is what we are saying now. You sell this crude at $100 per barrel. You now export, after selling at 100 naira per barrel, you export the same crude and now import the finished products at a higher price. That is why so many Nigerians are clamoring for revitalization of our refineries. There wouldn't be need for us to export this crude oil in the first instance. And we have some other byproducts that will be of benefits to Nigerians too. So until we are able to sort that out, and unfortunately, these refineries that we are saying are not bringing in any profits for us, we are still spending on the refineries.
Right.
So it means that the little resources, the little profits we are even making, we are wasting them on frivolities, things that are supposed to bring us income. We are spending more on them and we are not getting anything. So until we fix those things, somebody has told us that probably crude will get to, before the end of the year, crude will get to as high as $160 per barrel.
And that would only mean we would pay more.
We'll pay more.
Refining.
We'll pay more refining.
Fuel subsidy.
We'll pay more on subsidy because we'll pay more importing the finished products.
Right. In a related story, you are aware that the NNPC is now known as NNPC Limited,
yes.
And that unveiling happened yesterday. Speaking on what Nigerians and stakeholders should expect from NNPC Limited, its new group CEO, Malam Nile Kyari, said the new entity would be smarter and much more responsive in its operations. It will be more accountable because it must act within the premises of all the regulations that are in the country for private companies and must also meet the standards of best practice in terms of governance and make sure that all regulations are kept. It will deliver value to shareholders, which will come in two forms. He also added that as a private company, NNPC Limited was no longer expected to attend the FAC meeting, that's Federation Account Allocation Committee meeting. He said, and I quote him now, no more FAC, will pay our taxes, will pay our royalties, and will deliver dividends to our shareholders. We'll look to see what all of this means in the coming days. But let's move over to...
Quickly on that, I am surprised that we are having this. It's like putting the same people at the helms of affairs, those who have been managing the NNPC before now, and they have been recording losses. Now you are saying it's now a limited company. It's good that it's a limited company.
Right.
But then, the way you have been, let's see if they will be able to bring Hamas on NNPC Limited, the way they have been handling private businesses. For a private business owner in Nigeria to do business and make profit and succeed, it's Herculean.
Right.
Probably NNPC Limited will face that. And
one interesting thing that he pointed out as well was that the federal government is now a customer to NNPC Limited in the supply of petrol.
Let's see how it goes.
Okay, let's move on to the story that would maybe concern students and their parents and those who have interest in the education sector, as the case is. Strike continues as well. Demands two riders. The first one says union insists on UTAS and signing of renegotiated agreement, and the fact that the president has told the Minister of Education to resolve the ASU strike and report back to him in 2 weeks' time. The question on the minds of people will be the feasibility of the timeline given by the president for the resolution to this. And I also did read during the details to the story the fact that ASU also do not want the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, to be part of that renegotiation team because they feel he's maybe causing some sort of setbacks to the renegotiation process. And, of course, like I said before, they insist on UTAS and they want a signing as well as implementation of the renegotiated agreement. And the question is, the Education Minister has been at the helm for, as long as I know, and this was the same minister who walked out and students who were also trying to wait into the process sometimes in February. All of these goals set by the president, are they realistic? And should students be hopeful that the strike might end anytime soon?
Benga, the time frame set by Mr. President is realistic. It is realistic. Like as you said, NLC were saying that this can even be resolved in matter of days. I agree. But you see, ASU has successfully played on the emotions of Nigerians. An average Nigerian now is behind ASU because the students have been at home for 5 months. Even if you don't have a child in the university now, you still feel for the parents and the children that are in school. So, despite the fact that as a private business owner, it is not your employee that will dictate for you
how he or she should be paid.
But now this is one of the major reasons why ASU are saying they will not resume
the UTAS thing.
That it has to be that UTAS. Now Nigerians are saying federal government should just give them whatsoever they want. Just like the Zamfara case we pointed out.
Right.
Nigerians just want peace. We just want that sector to be settled. And that is why people are saying federal government should just accede to all what ASU is saying. Now, the renegotiated agreements.
Right.
There are some things that the federal government ordinarily will not accede to. But because Nigerians are saying, just give us this. Some weeks back, I think, some days back, the presidential aspirant, candidate for APC was in Osun State. And the student body, what do we call them? NANS,
right.
were able to meet him. And he promised that the issue of ASU will be sorted out very soon. People are now talking to these politicians. If you want our votes, do something about this ASU strike. It means that they will compromise. Some of the things that the federal government have been using as their standpoint, that we cannot do this. These are the standard procedure. Now, they have to compromise. They have to shift ground because ASU, like I said, have successfully played on the emotions of Nigerians, and they are winning the battle now. And the federal government will have no choice than to look into this. But I am surprised that after 5 months, it is now that that Mr. President is now telling ASU to go and sort this out in matter of 2 weeks, in 2 weeks' time. What was
They have to linger for this long.
Why has it been silent on this for this long?
Do you think it has anything to do with the impending strike by the NLC and threatened shutdown across board?
Of course, if NLC should wade into this and go on strike for this, not only
they've said they will, like on the 27th, I think, of July.
Yes, I think next week Tuesday or thereabout. If they should carry out that threat, it's not going to be politicians alone that will be affected this time around. You can recollect that there was a time the aviation workers were saying they want to go on strike. The National Assembly members waded into it because around that time they were junketing around, campaigning and doing all this stuff. If the aviation industry workers says they are not working, it means they won't be, these politicians won't be able to do what they want to do.
Right.
So they waded in, it was resolved, and maybe if we go that route too, if ASU can bring in other unions, maybe we'll find a solution to this.
I mean, people have long bandied as a solution, legislating it such that the political elites are bound or beholden or obligated to send their children to Nigerian schools because the situation you shared, the analogy you gave, sort of points to the fact that when the government is personally affected, then that's when they treat these things with urgency. Otherwise they are sort of indifferent to it. So what do you think about that?
You see, some people will argue that that would be an infringement on the rights of these children if you compel that since their father or their parents work with is a public servant, they have to school here in Nigeria. But then you see, there are some rights. Yes, they will call it fundamental human rights, but there are some rights that you have to forfeit for some situation. I am in agreement with that if we can do it. That once you are a public servant, if you have a child that is still of school age, that child should attend public school.
So that when the whole nation is on strike.
Or you should go to public hospitals, make use of public facilities, not private ones. So that when there is a problem in the public facility, you too will be affected and everybody. But then, must we get to that extreme situation before we find solutions to our challenges?
All right, let's head to the phone lines now. We may or may not, depending on time, take this story on The Punch. It was absent on the front page of the Vanguard, but I can see it on the Punch's website. It says, Oyetola pencils 50 lawyers, APC Adeleke trade words. This is following the outcome of the gubernatorial elections that held last Saturday in Osun State. The question I'm going to ask Abayomi is whether he thinks Governor Gboyega Oyetola has a case, in this. But, I mean, legal matters can be funny to some extent. But let's take this call. Apologies, we lost it. Call us back if you can. 0704 400 1067 0817 444 1067. Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Nicholas.
Nicholas, thanks for calling.
Yeah, what has happened to the forensic reports, the forensic auditing on the adulterated fuel brought into this country? and the NDDC report. Then suddenly we are saying that we are relaunching NNPC. Relaunching is about new wine in new bottle, not new wine in old bottle or old wine in new bottle. On the turbaning, somebody told us that if he doesn't win election in this country, the dogs and the baboons will be in blood. It's not fake news. Kabu Baraje, on his 70th birthday, told us that they brought these people for elections and they refused to settle them. So we can now see the state we have now sunk into. So Nigeria should just try and be in a state of grace wherever you are, because we are only alive on God's grace. And to make matters worse, when you watch Asha yesterday performing at that function, someone is telling you that there's fire on the mountain, and you are giving her a round of applause. Obviously, no one even understood the lyrics of that song. Unfortunately, have a nice day.
Thank you. Have a nice day yourself. 0704 400 1067. Our social media channels are still available for you to send a message to Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp. Good morning. What's your name? Hello. Good morning. All right. Apologies to that caller. Hello. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning. Yeah.
What is your name?
My name is Folari Bola from Ishaka. Really.
Thank you for calling.
Well done, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And I give the Benga and my justice address. I want to go straight to the action. Yeah, as a matter of fact, Mr. President has just saved Mr. Ngige his job. You understand? By shelving him out of that negotiation. You understand? Because me personally, I've been doing this agitation for like more than before the second strike. That is the February 14th. I've been saying that they should remove Ngige. You understand? Because he's the one that is making that strike to be longer and longer. You understand? But thank God, Mr. President has used Ogo Atinuda. You understand? Just to give that 2 weeks. But one thing I want to advise the NSC for this now is just because we Nigerians, if the president didn't talk, we said he doesn't talk, but when he talks, sometimes you don't like, we said it's too late, this, that. But as a matter of fact, the NSC should give Mr. President benefit of doubt, a honor as a president for that 2 weeks to resolve that thing, and they should also that their strike, they should know that there's something at stake for them, you understand? To push the toes of the government.
Right.
So time we are doing this if you don't negotiate these 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. What's your name?
Good morning. You'd have to speak up. We can hardly hear you.
Engineer Tayo, I don't know what's wrong with your mouthpiece, but we can barely hear you. Maybe move closer to your phone's mouthpiece.
Yes, very much better now.
Yeah, on the issue of the artist side, well, if Mr. President believes that this is the right time for me to intervene, no problem. For 2023, on what was said, if Mr. Lutola likes, let him go and hire 500,000 lawyers. Also, people are spoken, and that's the final. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Hello. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Mr. Lalade.
Mr. Lalade, please turn down the volume on your radio set.
I've done that.
All right. Thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I have 2 areas I want to contribute into. The first one is the issue of the ASU. I will appreciate it if the ASU representative too should try and be a little considerate. Because if we are to draw it to the last limit, the government directly is not affected. It is the life of the children, the life of the students that is being affected. And when that continues to linger, we know the consequences of what this could cause our country. That is number one. Number two is the issue of this banditry in Sanfara, in Kastina, in whatever. You see, I just want to give a little advice. We should be aware and be careful of voting another Fulani so that we won't nurture another bandit for another 8 years.
Whoa. Thank you for your contribution, but that is such an overreach. No ethnic group has a monopoly on violence or terror, and to imply that anyone of Fulani ethnicity who becomes president, would encourage acts of violence, that's a generalization of the entire Fulani. So please, let's be careful of making broad statements like that. Hello, good morning. Please turn down the volume on your radio set so we can hear you better. Have you done that? All right. Thank you. Good morning. Go ahead.
Please, I want to ask a question, please. I don't know what concerns the state university that OEU and this said join the strike. It is federal. This has what problem with federal. Why state university join there? I want to know the reason why. Because the university is not on strike. That's not on strike. I don't know why this university are on strike. I don't know. Look at the state government. You know that they say this university to go back to work. They say it's not going there. That's what this state government did. I reported to go to work. Why is this university joining? I want to know this university.
All right, thank you very much. I wonder which state university is referring to. Are there state universities that are on strike?
Well, I think you referenced Ekiti. If I'm not mistaken, I didn't exactly get it. I didn't get it clear, but from what I know some state universities are on strike, and so yes, I'm sure he's not wrong in that regard.
No, well, I mean, he's asking the question. Abayomi, do you have any answers?
Well, like Gwenga said, there are some state universities that are on strike quite well, but it's absurd if
just like he's saying.
Yes, it's absurd for you to say because the
ASU
national ASU is on strike and it will affect state universities. No, it shouldn't be.
All right, on Twitter, this comment is from Ajayi Ogidiolu, who says, no matter how NNPC is branded and colorfully branded, it will end up being a disaster, just like National Carrier was a disaster at the end of the day. Wow, that's such a gloomy prophecy. Government of the day fails to do the needful by constructing viable refineries. All right, thank you. We can still take one or two more calls, at least two. 0817-444-1067, 0704-400-1067, 0817-555-1067.
While we're with the calls, let's go through these WhatsApp messages. Okay, here it is one. Let me see. Ijala Waliu. All right, you put in your name earlier. Even the statement government has no business in business gets me concerned. I think this is the primary statement that gives room to embezzlement in Nigeria, because how will Nigeria's government spend a huge amount of money on the project and its outcome will all be, those monies to be gained by the government are being diverted to individual account of a civil servant. The government should give us adequate light and all the social infrastructures we are paying and we will be paying. Here is another message from Ibukunluwa from Abeokuta. Good morning, guys in the studio. Oyetola is just wasting his money and those lawyers' time. He lost and he should accept it. The election was free and fair. All right, this is from Ibukunluwa from Abeokuta. Thank you very much for
People have been known to win cases on a technicality, saying.
Right. Here is another one. In Senate climbs, the educational sector and the academicians are the ones pioneering innovation and development. Therefore, if ASU is insisting on the use of UTAS, then the government should not ignore it. After all, these people are supposed to be driving innovation and development in this country and not the other way around. ASU can dictate to the federal government on what platform they can use to pay them. All that the federal government needs to do is test it and see whether it is okay. Olajuo, thank you for that one. Here is another. Good morning, Miss Lola Meduteni and Mr. Gbenga Fayon. Kudos to our visitor in the studio. I'm Olorun Soya Shamsuddin Akorede, also known as Comrade Otokoro from Kimta Idiaba Belkuta. Should Mr. Oyetola just please accept his fate, because the 50 lawyers would never do any free job for him. Well, I'm not sure he's trying to do them pro bono.
Is that the last one we have?
This is the final one now. When the aviation workers wanted to go on strike, it will surely affect our politicians to quickly intervene and do the needful. The issue of ASU strike is intentional because almost few or none of them have their children schooling in Nigeria. Okay, that's an overreach. I'm not reached out on NNPC. Kiari said the price will still be determined by the FG, and I'm yet to get in tandem with the economic model being adopted. May God have mercy. Well, we cannot read any further message. This one was from Surakada Blamida Biodo.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for your comments, your messages, your tweets, and your calls. We appreciate them all. And we appreciate as well Abayomi Babalola, who has been here with us since 8 o'clock. Thank you very much, Abayomi.
It's good being here this morning.
All right. Panorama will continue tomorrow.
Right. From 8 a.m. And you can get engagement on social media of these talks as well sometimes on social media at Ben_Lugbenga. So enjoy the rest of the day. Bye for now.
Bye for now. I'm Lola Meduteni. Good morning.